When do you guys plan on having kids? My name is Alejandra Gonzalez, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about my IVF journey and answering a lot of the questions that you guys had for me regarding the process. We're going to jump right into the questions. So let's get started. Where did you go get your IVF process started? We went to Tijuana, Mexico, to a clinic called Vida. Your journey inspired my wife and I to go to Vida. Thanks for sharing. Did you have to stay in TJ for multiple days? And if so, for how long? I'm so happy that I was able to inspire you guys. It's a huge step to take. And yes, so there was a time that we had to be in TJ for, I want to say, 3 consecutive days. And that's because they had to monitor my hormones. Were you able to choose multiple babies, or God just blessed you with 2? You're able to choose whether you want 1 embryo or 2 embryos. I don't think you can really go past that just because for, safety precautions. But yes, you are able to choose. What made you decide to do IVF in TJ, and how did you decide on Vida? We decided to do IVF in TJ because our good friends were talking to us about their process and their IVF journey, and they had nothing but good things to say about Vida and Tijuana. So we decided to give it a try. How long did you try to conceive before deciding on IVF? Well, me and my husband have been together for 12 years. And so during that time, we've never used protection. And it got to a point where we started to question it, specifically me. And I did ask him to go, get himself checked. And I went to go get myself checked. And so everything came back normal, which to me was still questionable. And that's when we decided to really look into it and, go to Vida in Tijuana. What finally made it sink that this was the only way for you to start a family? Well, basically, after several attempts, I want to say, of never using protection and everything coming back normal, and the doctor is saying, oh, you're too young to, keep looking into it. Just keep trying. And for me, it wasn't normal. I just knew something was wrong. And so we decided to look further into it. And like I said, that's when we decided to go to Tijuana and really kind of explore the process of IVF. Are you able to choose a gender? Yes, you are able to choose a gender, but that's like a whole extra process into kind of just the regular IVF process that we did. And we decided not to do that because our doctor had told us that the eggs that she had pulled were very healthy. And in order for them to basically choose a gender, they have to send the eggs over to a different laboratory. And she was like, you know what? Don't mess with your eggs. They're perfectly healthy. Just don't do it. So we decided not to do it. But you are able to choose a gender. How much was it? That's a huge question that I keep getting asked. And I want to say that it was between $13,000 to $15,000. And that includes travel, that includes hotel, that includes the whole egg removal, and then basically the entire process, right? It was about $15,000. Any tips on getting pregnant? Well, when the process started, the number one thing that I did was leave coffee. I was absolutely against coffee. I did no drinking. I took a step back in life, and, I felt like stress had to do a lot with it too. So I eliminated a lot of things in my life that I wanted basically my process to go smoother. And I feel like it helped a lot. So no coffee. Can you share how many trips you took to Mexico? Our process started in around January of 2024 and ended about, I want to say, in April. And within that time, we were going every other weekend. So, in between that time, it was every other weekend from January to April. After IVF, could it be naturally? I have no idea. I don't know if it can be naturally. My doctor said that perhaps, my body now just had 2 whole babies. So it's, I guess, accustomed to it now. Will we perhaps try? hopefully. But I'm not sure if it could be naturally, I might be fertile now or more fertile, but I guess time will tell. We shall see. Who was your doctor and how was the experience? My doctor was Doctora Rebecca, and honestly, it was a really, really good experience. What I like the most about going to the doctors out there in Tijuana is that after each appointment, they would literally pull me to the side or pull me and my husband to the side and explain to us what was the next process or what was the next step, how I was doing. And like basically, they would take the time to really explain to us everything, not like kind of over here where you're kind of just in and out. So, yes, it was a really, really good experience out there. What type of infertility problems did you have? So, to be honest, they told me that I didn't really have any infertility problems. They kind of just explained to me that my fallopian tubes were being lazy. I'm not sure what that means. They kind of said that I didn't have a problem. My husband didn't have a problem. So, we don't really fully know what was the issue or why I couldn't, get pregnant. But that was kind of the end result to why they said that I had to go through the IVF process, that my fallopian tubes were being lazy and not kind of grasping onto the eggs. What's the difference doing IVF here in the US as opposed to Mexico? Definitely financial wise, it's, that's the biggest difference. I've heard stories and I've had friends that have done IVF where they've paid up to $40,000. And for us in Mexico, the most that we spent was $15,000 and we went back twice. And that include travel, that include, us eating out there and, staying out in the hotels. So I want to say that's the biggest difference. How many rounds of IVF did it take? For me, it took 2 rounds. So the first time when we did go, I decided to do one embryo because it's the first time I'm gonna be a first time mom. I was scared to do two embryos, and so the first time we ended up doing one embryo, and unfortunately, for whatever reason, that one embryo did not stick. So then we ended up going a second time, and that time we did two embryos. Y pues al último, both embryos, stuck. And now we have twins, which we're blessed with. And I'm a mommy of twins. And honestly, I feel very, very fortunate about that. Did you do a fresh embryo transfer? Yes, we did. So there's fresh embryo and then there's frozen. So we did fresh embryo at that time. And till this day, I still have another 7 embryos there waiting for me. So maybe we'll do another 2 embryo transfers. Was it covered by insurance? No, it is not covered by insurance. I'm not sure if you can get it covered by insurance, but for us, it wasn't covered by insurance. We had to pay everything out of pocket. And the good thing about that is that it's not like a big lump sum at once. You can, every single appointment, you're basically paying for that appointment. The most that you pay is about $4,500, and that's when like they do the whole transfer of the embryos into your body. What was the most challenging thing to go through with IVF? I want to say that the most challenging thing that I went through was the injections, just because it had to be daily and it had to be in your stomach. It got to a point where I think the hormones that my husband was injecting into me were not strong enough. So then we had to switch the hormones and we started injecting them into my butt. And so that's when we went back the second time and it actually worked. And yeah, that was the hardest part, having to inject yourself every day, getting the bruises on your stomach, on my butt. And I want to say that was the hardest part of the process. The reason why I started the podcast with when are you guys going to have babies is because that's a typical question we're asked from our family members, from our friends, especially coming from a Hispanic family. You literally go to any, family event, and that's one of the main questions that they ask you, and not knowing what you're going through, what your body's going through, if you've been trying or not. So I wanted to bring my IVF process to light and answer some of the questions for you guys, because I want it to become a, normal conversation that you're able to have. because in the Hispanic community, it's not normal. You know, Hispanic women are known to be very fertile, and it's not talked about a lot that we do go through it. And so I hope that, you know, bringing my IVF process to light and answering a lot of these questions does help you guys with the process. And feel free to reach out to me at any point to help you with the process, or if you guys want to, you know, have any other questions that I didn't answer, feel free to reach out to me. But yes, I hope that you guys enjoyed this Q&A, and hopefully I have more for you to come.